What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode on my channel. As always, I'm Jay, and today, guys, I'm finally talking about Creed 3, which I actually saw the day that it came out on the Friday, and I really enjoyed it. And the thing of it is that, I still, even though I'm late, I still wanted to give my 2 cents on it, even if it's rehashing a lot of what other contemporaries of mine are saying. But ultimately, here's my review and opinion of the film. And the thing of it is that, of course, without a doubt, I'm going to be getting into some spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film and you want to go see it, I recommend going to check it out, then come back for this review. But if you don't care about spoilers, or if you've already seen the film, let's talk Creed 3. So the third film in the Creed franchise is actually Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut, and he did a bang-up job. The thing of it is that at this point, Creed is now the champion again. He's going out on top after fighting Pretty Ricky Conlon in a kind of full circle moment. After that, he decides to hang up the gloves for good, and he just decides to be kind of in retirement and also nurture the next generation of fighters and everything. And again, in the case of Creed 3, if you are a Rocky fan, you know that Creed 3 feels like Rocky 3 meets Rocky 5. Now, the difference is that inside of this right here, instead of coming up against an adversary that is just kind of a random opponent that no one ever has heard of, or he's just come out through the ranks, the opponent and antagonist of this film is actually someone from Adonis's past. And in comes Jonathan Majors as Damian. Basically, Damian was the one who was really the boxing type. He was the one that was going to be the prize fighter and everything. Adonis actually ended up hanging around him and growing up with him. And they were actually in kind of the same home here and there, and they were pretty much brothers. One night, an instance happens. Damian basically pulls out a gun, gets arrested, and locked away for 17 to 18 years. So now we cut forward. He's out of prison, looking for his big break in boxing, trying to get further and everything, and he sees that Adonis has had all this success, and all the success and championships that he has, there's kind of a chip on his shoulder regarding this. We don't find out until maybe a little bit after that, but then again, if you watch the trailers, everything was front and center for sure. So after a freak accident with a top contender, which happens to be Ivan Drago's son Victor, going for the title belt, what happens is Michael B. Jordan's Adonis actually facilitates Damian coming in and fighting the current champion, marketing it kind of as a Rocky Balboa versus Apollo Creed fight. He does that, and when that happens, Damian actually levels the champ and becomes the new champion and everything. And then what ensues afterwards is Adonis finds out that Victor's kind of attack, which ended up leaving him from actually being able to box and everything, was orchestrated by Damian himself from someone that he knew in prison. And at that point, once he finds all this out, once he kind of has all this anger and rage and frustration, he has to get rid of it, and he decides to come out of retirement for one last time. That way he can school Damian and actually put him in his place. The film itself, I really did enjoy. I thought that, again, for his directing debut, Michael B. Jordan did a fantastic job. And the thing of it is that where we see Creed in his life now, where we see Adonis in his life now, is, again, on top of the mountain. He's made it and everything, and that's kind of where struggles set in, about struggles with him trying to cope with not being a boxer anymore. Much like with Bianca, the struggles with her is we're seeing her having to cope with not being able to record anymore. Then we see them raising their daughter and everything, who now is a grown child, and she does not have her hearing and everything, and she does have to do sign language and everything, which I thought was very endearing and very sweet. The scenes with the daughter in there were very, very much heartfelt, especially the little subplot that we have with her trying to fit in, and then she's still getting picked on, even at a deaf school and everything. Phylicia Rashad comes back as Marion Creed, and the thing of it is that there's always that mentor character that is a catalyst for the motivation of the main character to kind of pick up arms and like really get down to business and everything. And unfortunately, she was this film's Mick. And the thing is that, again, spoilers, if you know how Rocky 3 played out with Mick, then you know where we're going with this. And again, I've always found that the Creed films have kind of brought Rocky down to a more realistic kind of area in life. And even Stallone was saying that in this story, from what I heard anyway, that it was taking itself down a darker path, which makes sense, especially with the subject matter, especially with the lifestyles and everything that we work with now. It actually is a natural progression to kind of bring that more to the forefront and the grittiness and everything. All the stuff that they've gone through, all the heartache and heartbreak, and how Marion was trying to protect Adonis by holding the letters that Damian ended up trying to send him through prison and all these things. And then also at the end where they have this argument or this kind of disagreement, and then she ends up having another stroke, because between the second and third film apparently she's had a stroke and she's been kind of, not herself since then. And when that happens, it is one of the most heartbreaking things. And that's the thing about the Rocky franchise / Creed franchise, is that every single film has never shied away from the dramatic, the heartbreaking, the familial, problematic aspects of life and everything. And that's really what these films are. They're kind of a ode to family drama, going through life and having to deal with all the adversities above everything else, and how we have to cope with the loss of loved ones and everything. And I'm kind of getting a little choked up just thinking about it and talking about it, but you can never tell me that a Rocky film doesn't have any heart, because there's always heart in every single film. Even Rocky 5, as lacking as it is, as problematic as it is when you look at it compared to the other ones, there are still themes and performances and drama in there that really get you right here, in my opinion. And getting back to Creed 3, it was definitely in that same wheelhouse. There was no shortage of it, and it's like one of those big things that happens in life where we lose someone, we have to deal with it, we have to cope with it, and sometimes we don't say the things that we want to say, we don't say the things that we should have said, which is, I love you, I miss you, and I'm sorry, and until it's too late. And again, that really gets me right here. I don't know about anyone else out there, but that definitely gets me. Michael B. Jordan, excellent as Adonis, as always, and in peak form. Then the dude had to do all that stuff, plus direct, and have to go through all the acting and the performance and the training and all that stuff. So I give major kudos to him. Tessa Thompson did a fantastic job as Bianca. Felicia Rashad, again, great job as Marion Creed. Jonathan Majors is a dude that I've really enjoyed seeing come up in recent years. Unfortunately, I still haven't seen some of the bigger things that he's been a part of. But yeah, Jonathan Majors is killing it, and I really enjoyed his performance in Ant-Man, and I can't wait to see where they go with that. It's almost like he was a hodgepodge of Clubber Lang, of Rocky himself, of a lot of these different characters. He had a lot of weight and a lot of dramatic background to him, and it really felt like this was the nice little spin that they added to the antagonist. Like, he actually had a relationship with Adonis. He actually knew Adonis, and technically he kind of was wronged by Adonis, despite them being kids. It really is something that someone could definitely construe and take to heart, because look at where it got him. And then, as he says, you see in somebody else live your life, the life that you're supposed to live. How are you supposed to take that other than as kind of an offense? And this is where kind of the pride and the ego and all that other stuff kind of comes into play. I was actually very surprised that after the final fight, what happened is there was an extended kind of ending going on where Creed actually went into the locker room with Damian. They had a heart-to-heart, and then finally, and obviously this is after Damian has lost and Adonis has won, Damian's admitting, and his admission is almost like a cathartic forgiveness, and I really appreciated that, because you don't know what happens after the fights. You don't see that usually as far as what it is with the fighter and the antagonist that they had to go up against. And in this instance right there, here, despite all the bad blood that they had, for Damian to recognize that he was kind of in the wrong and everything, I really appreciated that. I really appreciated that for sure. And I thought that added just that kind of little special spin on Creed 3 for sure. Now, of course, the most glaring thing about it, like everyone has pointed out, is the fact that Rocky is not there. And I liked the analogy that someone had put out there that at a certain point you have to knock off the training wheels. And absolutely, 100% undoubtedly, Rocky Balboa being there was definitely great. It was a continuation of him and seeing his growth as an older character, being in that mentor role. The first Creed film, I loved his performance. I thought his performance was so endearing and heartfelt. And honestly, I don't understand how he didn't win an Oscar for that. But then again, he didn't win an Oscar for his performance in the first Rocky either, so go figure. And then in the second Creed, I had my problems with how they rushed the storyline and how they kind of just jumped right into him kind of going at you know, this fast pace where he becomes champion, and then all of a sudden he's thinking about retiring, and he's marrying Tessa Thompson, and then all of a sudden he's thinking about he's gonna fight Victor Drago, and so that he can avenge his father's death and all this and that stuff. And I was like, okay, we're moving a little fast here. Maybe we should have worked up before that happened. But you know, we still had Rocky Balboa there, and his presence is definitely felt inside of that film too. But the way that they had handled it, and how he finally reconciled with his son and actually visited his son and his grandson and their family for the first time, I felt like it was a nice way to close the chapter on Rocky and everything. And I would rather not have Rocky in any more of the films, because he's taught and shown Adonis everything that he needs to. He's even had his moment where he was in the background. He kind of left him high and dry to a certain degree, and then came right back and redeemed himself, and kind of got back with Adonis to show his support and everything. So him not being in here didn't bother me. Obviously, again, Rocky is one of those presences that you kind of want to feel, and the absence is totally noticeable. But as far as the film, I don't think it took away from the film, and they still have Rocky's DNA in there. This is still part of the Rockyverse and everything like that. I almost feel like I would rather not see Rocky back, because if he's back and he actually passes away, I feel like that would be kind of a whack way for his character to be written off and everything, personally. So overall, I think Creed 3 was a great update in entry inside of the Creed franchise. And again, it had some little flourishes and bits of past Rocky films and whatnot, and it married them into a nice thematic, dramatic kind of presentation, where it added a little spin and made it more relevant to Creed, of course. I thought that the cast was great, and again, the performances and the story was very interesting. And again, simple, but simplistic, straightforward, great acting, and I can't recommend it enough, especially if you are a fan of the previous films in the Rocky and Creed franchise, for sure. I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Go check it out, and yeah, it's definitely one that I'm going to be buying and having in my Blu-ray collection for sure. Anyway, guys, that's all the time that I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me on my review today. And if you dug the video, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are subbed, hit that bell button. That way you never miss a moment of my content. But until next time, guys, as always, I'm Jay. So take care, and bye.